How you doing, Cali Crowd? About a year ago, this poll on Reddit surveyed nearly 1,000 calisthenics athletes to establish how strong they were as well as their competency in various bodyweight skills. I'll link to this survey in the description below, so definitely check it out as the data is extremely interesting. But what I found most interesting was taking a look at the absolute top calisthenics athletes who submitted a response. The athletes that could pull off seriously advanced skills, what they were doing, and more importantly, how they were doing it. So today we're gonna dig into this data and take a look at how we can start to train like those top athletes by taking a look at what they're doing. Okay, so digging into the data, let's take a look at the athletes that could do a one-arm pull-up. Of the population, only 7% of the respondents said that they could do a one-arm pull-up. Right off the bat, this should show you just how tough this skill is to learn and perform. But of those that could do a one-arm pull-up, what I was also interested in was what other relative movements were they capable of? The average max pull-ups in one set for somebody who could do a one-arm pull-up was 23 conventional pull-ups. Compare this to those that could not do a one-arm pull-up, whose average max pull-ups in one set was 7.5. Impressive, but certainly not elite level. And yet, to pull off a skill like the one-arm pull-up, athletes will likely have to be able to do 3 times the number of pull-ups compared to their non-one-arm pull-up companions. And when it comes to advanced calisthenic skills, this amazing capacity to display strength is not just selective to the one-arm pull-up. We can't talk about god-tier calisthenics without talking about the planche. Of the total respondents, only 3% of them could planche. And when you remember that this is a poll on Reddit, a Reddit forum specifically designed for calisthenics athletes, so the people submitting into this survey are probably going to be highly interested in calisthenics, and yet only 3% of them could planche, that should tell you a lot about what the planche entails for you to learn how to do it. And when we take a look at the pushing strength that these planches were capable of, we can start to see why. The average max push-ups for planches was 48 push-ups in one go. The average dips was 28. The vast majority of them could also do the more basic pushing skills too, such as handstands and L-sits. The average max weighted dip amongst planchers was 48 kilos, but the average weight of a plancher was only 68 kilos, meaning that on average, people who could planche had built up so much fundamental pushing strength that they could shift 70% of their body weight on the dip bars. When you take a look at how these numbers compare to those that responded that they could not planche, the data shouts very loud. All this is well and good, but what can we learn from this? How can we apply it? On this channel, we talk a lot about building basic strength, building fundamental strength that can be transferred to various skills. And the proof that this is true is in the data. The skills we have just gone through demand loads on our bodies, and the data suggests that athletes that can do them have built themselves to be able to have the strength capacity long before they ever even have the right to ask their bodies to do the skill. By developing the fundamental patterns of pull-ups, push-ups, dips, and body rolls, we too can become elite athletes. Now, there are some biases that we really should address before drawing complete conclusions from this survey. Most importantly, when we take a look at these responses, we have to just assume that the word of somebody on the internet is the truth. With this poll, we will never be able to validate these responses. Also, the definition of these skills leaves a little bit to be desired. For example, people that responded, I can L-sit, does this mean on the floor or on parallettes? We already know that one is far harder than the other. Or what do people responded yes to being able to handstand mean? When we know not all handstands are made equal. There's also a little bit of correlation causation fallacy by us taking a look at this data in this way. For example, we just said the average plancher can do 48 push-ups, but that doesn't mean that if you do 47 push-ups, once you tip the point and get that one extra push-up, you suddenly learn how to planche. We cannot forget the skill component, but the evidence for how important the fundamentals are for getting these advanced skills is really difficult to argue with. We also have to remember that many people do not do calisthenics to master skills, and that for many, calisthenics is simply an efficient way to stay healthy. And that's fine, but this data might have those people in there as well. Essentially, what I got from this data was that ultimately fundamental strength is so crucial to building up towards some of these advanced skills. I found it really interesting to dig into this data, but I want to know what you think. What do you think about some of these advanced skills? Let me know in the comment section below. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it and it added value to you. And guys, I will see you in the next one.